Amanda here from Create Your Future. So today I've got Kariana joining me. Hey, Kariana.
Hi.
You guys, we have an exciting video and it's about how to drop resistance to get what you want fast. So I know this is a huge question about how to drop resistance, and it seems like this huge thing that's difficult to do, but it's actually quite easy. And we are going to help you to be able to, we're going to explain how you can do that and help you to be able to do that. And we've also got a really great success story where it really illustrates that circumstances don't matter. Just before we dive into it, guys, you know, we're giving away a free course, How to Find Your Blocks to Manifest Anything Fast. It'll help you with your mental diet, which is always important no matter what you're manifesting. The link is in the description below. And as well as Kariana is having a sale. Her prices right now are up to 50% off. So definitely check out the link in the description below. She's booking up really incredibly fast, guys. So, and her clients are already getting results and success. So it's really exciting to see. So yes, well, welcome. I can't wait to hear the success story.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, so I was working with a client that had manifested this wonderful, wonderful guy online. And they were seeing each other, spending a lot of quality time together. And she was just like over the moon happy. You know, they had a lot in common. They were like cooking together and watching movies together and just having like these like wonderful, incredible like date nights. And she was just basking in all of that. But 6 months into it, unfortunately, he dropped some big news and said that he had to relocate for a new job opportunity. It was just something that he couldn't pass up. It was a lot more money and so on and so forth. So she was pretty sad and down. And she knew that she didn't want to be in a long distance relationship. So it wasn't like an option for them to stay together. It was going to be a distance that she wasn't comfortable with, like plane rides back and forth. And it was just going to be a mess. And she agreed to keep on seeing him while he was in her country. But after that, they were breaking up and she just felt really hopeless about the situation. And that's when she came to me and asked me for some guidance and help. And the good news is that we were able to turn the situation around fairly quickly. What happened was this her SP ended up getting like this really awesome deal from his old company to stay with like lots of incentives and stuff. He was going back and forth, but decided to stay, and everything worked out. And so how we did that was I basically just started working with her kind of in steps and kind of told her, you know, hey, look, let's make a list of, since you're having this doubt, and we know that resistance or doubt is a form of resistance, right? And it's a big one. So I told her, hey, why don't we sit down and make a small list of just the manifestations that you aren't too attached to, you know? What are a couple things that you feel like you can manifest, you know, pretty easily? And one of them was she hates to wash her own car. So she wanted to manifest like somebody washing her car for her, right? Another one was that she wanted to hear a particular compliment, right? So we started working on that to kind of like build up her confidence in everyone as you pushed out, right? So we did that. And then I just had her really like stay on a strict mental diet and not accept anything in her 3D that popped up that contradicted what she wanted, you know, because she was having so many doubts around like, how is this person going to stay in my country? He's already made up his mind about this job, you know? So anytime there was ever any talk about it or, you know, anything unfavorable that contradicted it in her 3D that popped up, she would literally say, delete, I don't accept that. Delete, I don't accept that. And she stayed on top of it, and she's turned the situation around, and I'm so proud of her. And what I want everybody to remember is that, you know, we're creating in the mind, right, first, and then it pushes out in our 3D. It shows in our 3D instead of the other way around. We're not manipulating anything in our 3D to get what we want, right? So my client broke that cycle of just wanting to change the 3D and manipulate it, you know, to get what she wanted. And it turned around in her favor, and she got everything she wanted. And it can be that simple, you know. I mean, it did take her some time. It did take those small manifestations for her to realize that she is the true creator, right? And that you can really turn anything around. Anything is possible. But once she got those little small manifestations and she had that confidence, you know, in herself, and had that, you know, the self-concept too to go with it, that foundation, she she believed, okay, I can do this. And she stayed in that strict mental diet and it worked out for her. So I'm really, really proud of her. And she ended up getting her guy to stay. And that was like amazing.
I love that. I love that. I think that's the biggest thing is like the word resistance is very general and vague. So like, what is resistance? Well, it's things just like Kariana said, having doubt that the law even works, doubting yourself, thinking that the person doesn't want to be with you, thinking that circumstances are unchangeable, your assumptions that don't about the other person that don't fit what you want to create. I mean, those are all basically resistance, which are blocks, and they're the exact same thing. Resistant or blocks are just a thought contrary to what you want. That's it. A thought, a belief that's contrary to what you want. So how do you change it? You just simply go, let's say I want Jerry to marry me, and I think, oh, Jerry's got baggage and never wants to get married again. That's a block because I want to get married, and that thought, that belief is blocking me, that assumption. So all I have to say is, no, Jerry's over his baggage and ready to marry me, and boom. The block's gone. The resistance is gone, just like that. Mental diet is instant revision. Of course, you may need to say it more than once to get yourself to believe it. But the only person that you have to convince of your new story and believe is you, because you're the only one in your quantum, bubble, your quantum reality. It's all you, and everyone's you pushed out, and they're going to reflect back what you're putting out. What you like, that saying, you get what you give. It took me years to figure it out, but now I get it. Okay, I get the assumptions that I give. I get them back. Like, so, give love, give positivity, give good stories about everybody, that they're all, conspiring to make what you want happen, and if you give that, you're going to get that back, right? So.
Yeah. Like when what they say is, like when you go and spend money, you can say, hey, I'm going to get that money back tenfold, right? Everything, I always have plenty of money, right? You've talked about that before, and I've used that for a long time, right? So it's the same thing, when you put out positivity, you can intend, I'm going to get that tenfold. I'm going to get that back tenfold, right? And that's another thing. Like I had her create a story around her circumstances that worked for her, because we all know circumstances do not matter. So you literally make those circumstances work for you because they don't matter anyway. So it's like, create a story around those circumstances, create, anything that you want out of that. Whatever's negative, flip it into the positive, make it work for you, and then stick in that story, because that story will eventually push out. You stay in that, it'll push out. And it's really simple. And I think that when people think of blocks and resistance, they get nervous, but it's easy to get past,
Well, exactly. Here's a good story, actually, just yesterday. So I had a plane ticket for somebody to come to my wedding, but they're no longer coming. But of course, silly me, non-refundable, non-transferable ticket. So basically, I can't do anything with it. So I phoned up the airline, and when I found out I couldn't do anything with it, they said, but you know what? If your flight's delayed over 2 hours or canceled, you'll get a refund. And I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. So days leading up to it, I kept going, the flight's going to be canceled. It's going to be delayed over 2 hours. It's going to be canceled. I'm like, and then finally the day came and I was like, okay, I don't care what happens today. I'm getting that refund. So it was basically 2 separate flights. Okay. So the 2 connecting flights. So the first flight it did get delayed, and I was like, oh, here we go, and then all of a sudden it was only delayed 45 minutes, and they got on, and so the plane left, and I was like, okay, that's not enough. It has to be 2 hours. So anyways, I'm like, no. And by the way, everybody that took this flight yesterday, I'm very sorry for delaying and getting your flight canceled. I'll just say that right now. But anyway, so how many lives I affected to get a refund. But anyway, the point is okay, so the first leg went and there was like no refund, no cancellation, but I didn't give up there. I did not give up there. I was sitting here working, and I was like, no, you know what? I'm still going to get a refund. I'm like, I don't care how it happens. I'm like, I'm going to get a refund. And of course, everyone's going to be safe. It's going to work out in everyone's benefit, blah, 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 but I'm getting a refund. And then all of a sudden I started seeing the flight from this one to Vancouver. The second flight got delayed, and then it got canceled. Wow. And I was like, Oh, and so of course I show Andrew. I'm like, Andrew, it says your reservation's been canceled. I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, oh, that means you got the refund. I was like, I got the refund. So, you know, then again, I'm sorry for everybody on that flight when their flight got canceled, but I'm sure there was better flights. But it was actually canceled for like technical difficulties, technical issues, which doesn't surprise me. I'm not going to say the airline's name, but I've flown with them before. They are absolutely impeccable at customer service. Their first class is amazing. They feed you, they treat you well. But the 2 flights that I've ever been on with that airline, first one, the bathroom mirror was broken and flapping in your face when you're in the bathroom. And then the second time I was on one of their airplane flights, they had no water. There was no water in the bathroom. And I thought, okay, so if they can't figure out, so this is to explain that, of course, technical difficulties, because that's my belief about this airline, because they can't even get their bathroom in order for 2 separate flights that I was on. You know what I mean? And it was like, so I was thinking, oh, it's probably going to get canceled for technical issues, path of least resistance. That was my belief about this airline. Boom, right? But I've also known this airline to also, cancel for weather due to where the flight was coming from, but it was summer, so that wasn't going to happen. But, if it was spring, it would have, because that's happened many times from there. But anyway, so the point is, though, is like, throughout the day, if I had any resistance or a block going, oh, you know what, the first one already went, it's not going to get canceled. Boom. That would be a block or resistance right there. But then I would just tell myself, I'm like, no, my thoughts create, everyone's me pushed out. I'm getting this credit. I'm getting this refund. Okay. And that flight is going to be delayed over 2 hours, or it's going to be canceled. So help me God. You know what I mean? And, and basically that's what ended up happening. So not giving up, like persisting enough in your story, to the, the point. And I love that little list, because it's because of the little list that I did for years that I have no doubt that everyone is being pushed out. And all I need to do now is to say to myself is, Amanda, your thoughts create everyone's you pushed out. Get on top of your thoughts, right? Like get on top of your thoughts. And the other thing, that kind of comes up is, don't agree with other people if you don't like their story. Don't do it, because you're going to create, like Andrew could have easily have said, oh, it's okay. You know what? Just forget it. It's probably not going to be delayed or canceled. It's unlikely. And then I would have been like, yeah. And then boom, right there, I would have created that, right? You know what I mean? So, you sometimes, people don't talk to other people about their manifestations, like their friends for that reason. It's best to talk to another LOA person that's going to be like, no, that's a block. Say this instead, right? Whereas, your normal friends that don't know about this stuff, so easy to jump on the negative with you and help you create those blocks, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. They could have you, in a cycle of, just negativity and the old story, and you don't even. It's like it happens before you even know it. You'll be on the phone with somebody, and they go down this like road of like negativity and talking about everything that happened in your past and what your SP of 2 years ago was doing, and then you just start talking about, relationships and this and that. And then you're pushing all this like negativity out. It's like, it's not good. I stay, like we were talking about earlier, like I stay very private and very vague with people that are not of our community. Just helps me stay on track. And I'm just so like you were saying that when you push that out, and like Andrea was like, yes, it means that it's, we're going to get the money back. And you're like, yes, it's like hitting the lottery, Yeah.
I know.
Like, it shows you how powerful you are.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you've always got in that choice. So like, for instance, like, I'm not going to lie. If I may, if I call, say, a friend of mine that doesn't know LOA, and I'm like, complain about, an SP that I have a history with, of how him always treating me terribly, my friend's going to be like, most likely like, oh no, I'd lose him. He's a loser. He doesn't treat you well. But if I went to say, to Kariana and said, hey, you know what, my SP doing this, okay, she would tell me past doesn't matter. You got to look at the future. That's old thoughts. This is what you're going to create new. It's a complete mindset shift, right? From what we're actually used to out in the real world. I was just at the nail salon, see, pretty, and this lady beside me was complaining and about things that weren't working in her life. And it was like, first of all, draining. And second of all, I'm thinking nothing's going to get better if you just keep complaining about it. But that's what, a lot of us before we came into this world did, into conscious creating and being aware of it. And we thought it was normal, and it's just about training yourself on a mental diet enough and showing yourself that this is real, that you actually do consciously create. And, I only had to like really immerse myself in it for a couple years to really get fluent with it. And now, I don't need to create the little list. I don't even need to write intentions down anymore. I just do it in my head. And if I have any doubt or any resistance or any fighting with myself, I just say, Amanda, your thoughts create. Everyone as you pushed out, this. You are going to get what you want. And then I go through the list of what I want, right? And that calms me down because, I know that there's enough evidence out there. So
yeah, I'm kind of at that place too, where I just flip things throughout the day, or like I love to have like just like a little like kind of like a little running like story, little script. And whenever something the negative comes up or opposite thought, I'm like, nope, this is what's happening. This is what's happening now. And that's kind of like my intentions, instead of, because I don't really think, robotically affirming is really, something that everybody should be doing, because you can come from lack and, all of that. That's a whole different story. But, when you're just like staying in that new story and persisting and persisting and persisting, that's how my client got exactly what she wanted. And it wasn't something that like was easy for her just all of a sudden. She did her little list. She started getting things showing up. She's like, oh my gosh, you're right. When she came to me for our second session, like I think it was like 2 weeks later, it was like a whole different person I was dealing with. She was just so excited and so confident in what she was doing, because she was just persisting in that new story and not accepting anything that popped up in her 3D at all. Like, nope, not accepting it. Nope, not going to accept it, So yeah, I'm super proud of her. And yeah, we can all get past resistance, right? And it's funny too. I have a thought about the, when you're dealing with people that aren't in our community, it's like sometimes I feel like I'm overly positive, because they're everybody's like, oh, you're so happy all the time. How can you be so positive? I'm like, you always have to be, in that state of like, something is around the corner, something great is going to happen. I know that as a conscious creator, but there's some people that like, you come across and they're just like, you're way too positive for me. Like,
it's funny. And, it's funny. And I know I created this with my own, beliefs and assumption of this person, but there was this one person that was in my life and I tried to be her friend not that long ago. And I was so positive and she was so negative and angry at the world that my positivity would actually upset her. And she would tell me not to be so positive. And I was like, I'm sorry, I just can't do this friendship, right? I could have recreated her, but I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm not that good of friends. Like, it's not like we were trying to build a friendship, or at least I was. And, and for someone to like, tell me I'm being too positive and that it's disgusting. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm like, you go live. You don't think your thoughts are so powerful that you could just complain all day and enjoy it? Like, you just go live over there, right? Like, not joining that, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather sit at home alone staring at a wall, like, to be honest, right?
You're like, you can just keep spiraling and creating the same over there. I'm done. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that without me, right? Of course, anyone can be recreated, but you know what? That's the other thing, right? Like, the question is, right, when you do have a lot of resistance and blocks, like with an SP, there's no shame in manifesting an X-Pac, and there's no shame on saying you want to manifest someone else. Please don't manifest one's particular SP to prove to yourself this works, because this works. Prove to yourself that this works in other ways. I know a lot of times in this community, people are like, I want to manifest him just to prove to myself that I can. And it's like, pardon me, it's like, really? Like, that might be for the wrong reasons, like, but if you want to do it, go ahead. But, sometimes it's like, well, do you even like the person, or is it now just, to basically, get that satisfaction, right? But like I said, there's no right or wrong. If you want an X, get an X. If you want a new SP, get a new SP. If you've been manifesting for someone for years and you want to give up on that and try someone new, go ahead. Newsflash, Andrew's not my first boyfriend. I've manifested many guys and gotten rid of them and manifested a new one, even manifested an X back, got rid of him. Because there's no right or wrong. It's all just what you want and your choice, right?
Yeah. And absolutely. You said it perfect. I feel like I've had to talk to a couple clients about that and say, hey, look, like, let's stop and pause and, go over why you're really manifesting this person back, or why do you want to keep this person in your reality, because you can, manifest somebody new. You have to really get real and clear with yourself on why you're doing it, because, you know, it can come from lack. You know, you can be manifesting from lack, and then you're just going to get, you know, this person to come back, but then are you going to really keep your manifestation? You know, is it going to stay in you know, exactly the way that you want it? Probably not, you know?
Like, you know, I don't know about anybody else, but my relationships are way too important to me than to, you know, just to prove something to myself, right? You know what I mean? Because sometimes recreating and manifesting someone can be hard work. Like a mental diet, I mean, I say it's easy, but I mean, I'll admit at first I struggled. It was hard. It was difficult. It was a new way of thinking, you know, and it took, you know, catching myself and dedication and practice. And some days I just didn't want to do it, you know, because it took mental, like brain power. And it was just like, so much easier just to check out, have my negative thoughts with a big bowl of spaghetti on the couch all weekend in a blanket. You know what I mean? Like, but to actually, you know, to put the effort in, right? And then to see what you get back out of it, right? I think it's easier for a lot of people to complain because that seems to be the norm, you know, for the most part, you know, and just, you know, in the salon, maybe obviously that's my assumption, but, you know, I mean, people get together and complain about gas prices, food prices, you know, the price of whatever, and you know, and it's just changing that habit and a new way of thinking, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm here to help coach. I cannot wait to help everybody. I always say that, but I'm like, this is why I do what I do. I love helping. So
that is so awesome. Well, you know what? And I mean, guys, the feedback's been absolutely incredible. Kariana is absolutely amazing. And like I said, her clients are getting results, and it's really exciting to see. And she's lots of energy, lots of fun, instant best friend, let me tell you. She gives off that energy for sure. So guys, thank you. Thanks for being here, Kariana, and so amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm just so grateful to be here. So thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. And guys, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.